Good morning, everyone. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Sydney Meloche. 3 years ago, I remember sitting in the back of the chapel, somewhere over there, at the beginning of my grade 9 year, listening to my first chapel speech and thinking how inspiring it was, thinking, wow, that could probably be me in a few years. I remember thinking to myself that I would not be short, I wouldn't have to use a stool, and that I would have grown by this time. But that part didn't exactly turn out as planned. I only grew in height a little bit, but I have grown tremendously as a person. Today, I'm going to be telling you 3 stories about 3 different people in my life who have provided me with the strength, inspiration, without even realizing it. We don't always notice it at the time, but upon reflection, we inherit these attributes to make ourselves stronger and better people. The people I will be speaking about were handed unavoidable circumstances, but despite this, have come out stronger than they ever thought they could be. The first story is related to my little brother, Dawson. Yes, he may be taller, but not older or wiser. When he was about 3 years old, he started limping and dragging his leg around to the point where my parents frequently had to carry him around. After several specialist appointments, we found out that he suffered from a rare hip condition called Perthes disease. Essentially, the blood supply to the head of his femur was disrupted. Without a proper amount of blood supply to the head of his femur, his bone cells would die, forcing his leg to stop growing. If dealing with this extreme pain in his left leg wasn't enough for a child at his age, it then spread to his right leg at the age of 7. Fewer than 5% of children diagnosed with Perthes disease develop this condition in both hips like he did. We were told that his condition may impact his height and ability to play sports. However, anyone that knows my brother now would be very surprised to hear that. Throughout this, he gained strength. The second story is about someone that has inspired me with their strength and perseverance for a very long time. My grandma is a very strong and positive woman. My grandma's cancer is a particularly debilitating one. She was originally diagnosed with cancer in the tongue, and then it spread to her throat. After surgery to remove the tumor, and with lots of radiation and chemotherapy, she was left with a huge cost. She lost the ability to speak. Her teeth and jawbone deteriorated from all the radiation, and she almost lost her life, if not for an emergency trach that was put in her throat. For those of you who don't know what that is, a trach is a tube that is placed in a hole in your neck that helps you and allows you to breathe. It doesn't sound very comfortable, to say the least, and because of this, she lost her ability to speak and eat. And let me tell you that speaking and eating are taken for granted until you realize that you don't have the ability to do it anymore. Imagine sitting at Christmas and Thanksgiving dinners with family, watching everyone eat and enjoy the company while you are struggling to communicate with the people you love most. It's hard. With her age and fragile condition, it was easy for her to give up. But she continues to fight the inconveniences and share the time she has left with her family. Throughout this, she gains strength. The final story I would like to share with you today is about a special friend named Emerson in my neighborhood. On February 9th, 2019, I attended a funeral service to pay my respects and say one last goodbye to a childhood friend. Emerson and I had been friends since we were little kids. She was part of my Sunday school squad at church, my singing companion, and when we performed in choirs, and a teammate within my baseball teams. She basically lived for being outdoors at camp and was what we all referred to her as the hockey princess. She was the most adventurous, outgoing, tomboy teenager anyone knew. She was strong and courageous and appeared invincible as she battled through heart problems and almost all obstacles that came in her way. until 3 months ago on February 3rd. At only 17 years old, she passed away unexpectedly, only one day before receiving an offer of admission from her dream school. However, despite this, she gained strength. Now, I have told you 3 separate stories, and you may be asking yourself, what do they have in common? All 3 of these people and their ability to overcome their challenges till the end with strength, courage, and optimism have inspired me to conquer obstacles in life with similar perseverance. Throughout each of these stories, I've explained a difficult situation. However, I did not tell any of you how any of them ended. Dawson, despite being told that he couldn't play sports and that his height would be affected, currently plays on a competitive baseball and hockey team. And, although I hate to admit it, he grew taller than me in grade 7. Despite the struggles of not being able to talk anymore, my grandma was declared cancer-free a few years ago. And finally, despite Emerson passing, she lived her life to the fullest and has left behind a legacy full of positive memories to remember and cherish. All 3 of these people had struggles that seemed unbearable at the time. However, they all overcame them, becoming something stronger than they ever thought they could be. Watching people you love go through hard times with things that are out of your control is one of the hardest things to do. It's difficult when you don't feel like you can do much, but despite the outcome, I have learned that it makes you and that person stronger. These situations have not only made me and each individual stronger, but they have helped me build my path of resilience and strength. And they have taught me that you never know how strong you actually are until being strong is the only choice you have. However, these situations where you feel like you need to be strong can differ for each and every one of us. Some of us may feel like we need to be strong through a test. Some to get through a difficult time. Some to go out of your comfort zones and try something new. It doesn't have to be a life-threatening situation or even a medical condition that inspires you. Senior ones, most of you have been powering through the grade 11 grind and have been preparing for university. Deciding where you want to spend your time for the next 4 or more years can be stressful and is a difficult situation. Let me tell you that you will have to stay strong throughout the whole entire process. Senior 2s, we're basically done, and we have a new chapter in our lives awaiting for us. With only 12 days of actual classes left together, it's up to you to be strong about saying goodbyes, about moving forward in a completely new environment, and about whatever you fear for lies ahead. For all the stories and messages I have told you today, there's one thing I want you to listen carefully to, and that is this. We are all scared of something. We all have or are going to have bumps along the road, big or small. Each and every one of us will have many different challenges we are going to face at some point in our lives. Those 3 people I told you about have only allowed me to become a stronger version of me. Who are those 3 or more important people to you? Who is someone in your life that has inspired you and given you your strength? What I have learned is that strength does not come from winning. Your struggles develop your strengths. When you go through hardships and decide not to surrender, that is strength. Now would you please all rise and join me in singing hymn 423.